Dancing Water. I'm Susan. I'm so glad you're here. Our Dancing Water practice today is Restorative Yoga with nesting props. So we've got a variety of things that you can gather from around the house to give yourself support and allow yourself to come into these poses that are designed to let your nervous system unwind itself. This is not about stretch or getting into any particular shape, but rather to put yourself into positions that are so supportive and so comfortable that your nervous system calms itself down. So let's start with our props. Let's just start with what we can gather. And if you don't have it already, you can then pause the video and go and get it and then come back. So start with 2 pillows. I like to use firm, throw pillows or something off the sofa that are a little firmer than bed pillows, but you can also use bed pillows if they're firm enough. And I'm just going to sit on them so it's a little more comfortable. Then 2 bath towels, and just normal bath towels. And here's what we're going to do with them. Once you get them, fold them into a long rectangle, and then we're going to take them both into what I call a towel log. So I like to start on the edge where there are all the uneven parts and just roll it into a tight, smooth log. I like to use a log because then if you need less height, if that feels better on your body, then it's easy to unroll it and you can just get a little bit less height. So we're going to do that with both towels, both of them. Take the edges and roll them into a nice towel log. Then I recommend using a blanket. Now, Dancing Water, we're in the summer right now, and so it's quite warm here. But even if it's warm where you are and in the space where you're practicing, I recommend having a blanket. First of all, some of us, our bodies, even when it's warm outside, we will get cooler, and so having some warmth is important. But it's also very useful to have a blanket to have it folded like this and used as weight and as some support from above the body, as well as supporting the body underneath with the blankets and pillows and stuff. And then I always recommend an eye covering. It's a great way to allow your nervous system to calm down and to let the muscles in your eyes and face relax. And you're going to need a chair for the very end of the practice. It doesn't have to be any kind of special kind of chair. You can also use a couch or a sofa or a bed. What you want is, roughly speaking, the height of the chair is the length of your thigh bone. Roughly, we can adjust if we need to. And as always, I love to have some hydration, some tea or some water or something for your body to nourish it from the inside, as well as these postures that will nourish from the outside. So, cold dandy blend tea. Very good. Cleansing. Yum. All right. So if you haven't gotten your props yet, this is a great time to pause the recording, go get yourself set up, and then we'll begin the practice. Whenever you're ready, take yourself to a comfortable seat. So you see I've got myself propped up on my pillows. I like to have my hips higher than my knees. And just to let yourself arrive. So just notice the sensation of the support underneath you. Notice the weight in your hips. So maybe give a little rock side to side, a little bit front back. Make sure you're comfortable. Notice if one side of your hips or one side of your body feels heavier than the other. Just notice what it feels like to arrive here in this time that you've given yourself. Yeah. So in racial equity and social justice work, there is a saying. I heard it first from Franchesca Ramsey, and that's who I'm going to give credit to. She says, do the work. It's not about your intent. It's about the impact. And I totally get what she's saying. What she's talking about there is even if you go in with a positive intention, but what your actions do causes harm or is problematic in some way, then what matters is the impact. It doesn't matter. It's not that your intention doesn't matter at all. It is the fuel for your actions. However, your actions may be out of alignment given the impact. And so I invite us to both set a strong intention for what we want to create, whether it's in our practice today, in your work today, in your relationships, in any interactions that you're having, whatever it is. I invite you to set an intention. For me, today, this is a place I'm looking for some healing and some creation of space. Yeah? So what is it for you that you intend to create, whether it's in your practice or elsewhere in your life? Then we're going to do some actions now. We're going to take some poses, some postures. And anytime you notice that the choice that you've made, the action that you've made, didn't land the way you intended, have the courage to change it. Have the awareness to see that the impact wasn't in alignment with what you planned. Can you see this? I think this is the point that Franchesca Ramsey is making, is that if your actions are out of alignment with your intention, be brave enough to say, oh, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant to do. How can I do something that is in closer alignment with my intention? So, setting your intention, feeling yourself here. Let's just feel one hand either on the floor. You can also leave it on your thigh. And let the opposite hand come up and over, dropping this long arm, hip down. So there's some space along the outside ribs. And then gently turn your eyes and your hand down. Come around and go up and over again. And so watching your hand is going to create some opening through your neck, some healing and ease through your neck muscles, through the joints in your cervical spine. And if at any point it feels crunchy or uncomfortable, let's do one more on this side. Have the courage to adjust your actions to be in alignment with your intention. And then just very gently just drop your ear toward your shoulder. So shoulders are down and back. And just dropping, just opening your neck side to side. And then drop the other hand down, up and over. Pausing here just to create some opening. Feel the sensation from your hip to your armpit. And then from your armpit to your little finger, and then Look down, let your arm come down and come around. Following the eyes, the hand with the eyes. Breathe. 2 more times. Feel your eyelashes opening up, taking in. And 1 more time. Notice your side body. It's a place we tend to get really sticky. Yeah. And then come back to center. And this time, just turning your head from side to side. Looking left and right. Without cranking your neck around, just allowing yourself to move through your cervical spine, a little twist. This is also a way of orienting yourself in your space. It's also very calming to the nervous system. Taking a couple of deep breaths before we begin here. Now we've made some space in the side body. You can let your arms give your ribs some space. And take a breath in. And then down the center, palms together, fingertips resting together. Exhale all the way down, synchronizing with the breath. Inhale nice and deep. Exhale down the center. Inhale up. Exhale down. And 1 more time. Good. Let's take ourselves into our first pose. We're going to start with a heart opening pose today. So begin by taking your 2 pillows. And depending on your body, you may want more or fewer pillows to create the amount of opening that feels good to you. Take one of your towel logs, and we're going to take it up toward the top of your space for your head. And then taking your feet wide, at least shoulder width apart, maybe a little wider. Lift yourself up, pulling on your shins, lift your spine up, look up, and then slowly, using the strength of your arms, let your spine come down onto the support of the pillows and let your head rest on the towel. Now, I can feel that I've got the pillows too low. You want the pillows right under your heart so that you feel a stretch across your chest. Not the biggest stretch you've ever done, just a melting open. Taking your arms out, you can take them in soft cactus, if that feels good, or down by your sides, whatever feels right to you. Make sure that your head feels supported. And now notice your feet. Just let your feet soften into the floor. One thing I didn't mention, which is depending on your space, you may need more softness underneath your body for the practice. We don't have a lot of poses that we're directly in contact with the floor, but there are parts that may be sensitive to a very hard floor. So if that's the case, have an extra blanket or a yoga mat, or do it on carpeting, which is what I do. All right, and so now just feeling the sensation of your sternum, the breastbone, this broad bone that almost looks like a sword. Feel the sensation of it lifting and lowering with your breath. Check the back of your neck and make sure that it's nice and long. You might even take a hand to the back of your neck. Make sure that it's not crunched back. And then take a big inhale breath, lifting your heart and your sternum. And as you exhale, let your knees drop to the side. And then inhale your knees up to center. And exhale your knees off to the side. It doesn't matter if they come to the floor or not. Exhaling just down to the side. Inhaling up. It doesn't matter how fast you do it or how slowly. Just follow the natural pattern of your breath. Notice your jaw. See if you can relax it. Create a little space between your teeth. Maybe even swallow to create some space in your throat. Keep breathing and dropping your knees to one side. And then the next time that your knees come to the right, let them pause there. Letting your knees just fall just wherever they do. If you need some support, you can take your other towel or your blankets or something if you need something for your legs. We won't stay here too long, but just feel a diagonal line from your left fingertips, reach them long. You might even look up toward your left fingertips. And then this diagonal across your body. Take a deep breath into your rib cage. Then cactus your arms again and let your knees come up to the sky. Feel yourself in the middle. Let your knees come straight up and then let them fall to the left and pause there. And now releasing your right arm long. Yeah, and just find that diagonal line. Take some breaths into both of your armpits, creating some space at this connection point between your arm and your torso. Just notice what you notice here. Relaxing your jaw again, swallowing again perhaps. And when you're ready, letting your feet come flat to the floor. Now let your feet be a little bit wider than your hips and let your knees relax to the middle. So your knees are like a teepee. Yeah, a little tripod action with your thigh bones. Just now focus your attention on your chest and your collarbones, the space between your shoulders and your ears. You can close your eyes if that feels good, or perhaps gently let the heels of your hands rest lightly, but with some connection to your eyelids. Notice your toes. See if there's any gripping or holding there. Notice your hip joints. See if you can let the femur bones, the big long bones of the femur, rest heavily in your thigh joints. And then breathe deeply And very slowly, if your hands were over your eyes, release them. And very gently draw your knees in and roll to one side. Let your top hand push down. And let yourself reorient into upright. And taking our next pose, a supported pigeon pose. So you're going to need your other towel roll. And I'm going to recommend using your blanket. So come into all fours right over your two pillows and leave your towel roll, your towel log, up near the top. That's going to be for your forehead. So your hands are right under your shoulders, your knees are right under your hips. The tops of your feet are relaxed and open onto the floor. Just give yourself a little movement here. Maybe a little wag side side, maybe a little bit up and down, cat cow. And then as you're ready, draw your left knee up toward your left wrist, and you can draw your ankle closer to your groin, and then push down into your hands. Look up and soften the front of your body down onto the support. So for me, I need to tuck it in closer to my belly so that my whole front body is supported. And then there'll be a little space for your nose and your mouth, and you'll let your forehead relax on the towel log. And then take your other towel, and for me, my opposite hip, my right hip, is floating, and there's some space underneath it. So what you want to use that second towel for is to support. For some of you, it may be here on the bent leg side. For others, it will be like me on the straight leg side. Doesn't matter, and you may want a third towel if that is helpful. So get yourself set up. And then you can let your hands cactus out to the side with your palms down. Or what I like to do in this pose is to let my hands rest on the back of my head. So some support for my head. And similarly, taking your blanket, your folded blanket, putting that, putting that folded blanket onto your low back. So you're creating some support from above as well as below. Now check this out. You've set your intention, you've gotten yourself into this pose, and now see how it feels. See if you need to adjust something. Yeah, so for me, my ankle is all kitty wumpus. So that feels better. So it's not about not fidgeting. It's about choosing action and then seeing if it's in alignment with your intention. You want to feel supported. So it's not an enormous stretch, but something that you could stay in for an extended period of time. Rather than forcing anything in your body, rather letting it unwind. ribs floating on your breath, letting the back of your heart gently open and soften down. The space at your back of your heart like a lily pad floating on the gentle waves of a pond. Head is heavy. Hips are heavy. Jaw relaxed. Just noticing the sensation of your belly, the tender front of your body, fully supported. Take 3 more breaths in your own timing, without any rush, but without forcing it either. And then as you're ready, let your hands come right under your shoulders. Both knees come right under your hips. And let's just take a moment here again in all fours. Cat-cow, just moving the spine around. If you can, keep your blanket on your low back. You're welcome to. And then take the same thing to the other side. So this time, bending the other leg in, creating some opening along the outside of now, for me, it's my right hip, lengthening my left leg down and creating some support for this hip with the other towel. Just tucking it underneath, just sort of snugging it under. Forehead can rest on the towel. Hands can be out to the side or on the back of the neck. Check out your eyebrows, see if you can relax them. And see if you can use the towel to gently draw the skin between your eyebrows down so that the back of your neck is really long. Noticing the outside of your hips on both sides in this asymmetrical pose. Just noticing the differences side to side. Letting your breath soften the spaces around the outside of the right hip. Let your shoulder blades, like two smooth river-worn stones, slide away from the center of your body and maybe down just a little bit. Let your breath travel over your shoulders like a river running over stones. Letting your breath move in any way that it wants to move. Take 3 more breaths on this side. And very slowly, just taking your hands underneath your shoulders and bring yourself onto all fours again. One more time, just using this position to move the spine around a little bit and bring yourself back. So we're going to use our 2 towel rolls, two towel logs for the next pose, as well as the chair. You may need your pillows, but it depends on your body. So we're going to put them right at the top of your space so that you can reach them if you need them. Similarly, eye covering up at the top of the space so you can reach it. Your blanket, have that available, and then just either scoot yourself toward your chair, or if you're me, scoot your chair toward you. So just take your chair and put it at the bottom of your space. Then take your 2 towels and line them up next to each other so they make a longer log. And take your body and put your hips close to the side of your chair or your couch, and then swing your legs up onto the chair with your spine lined up along your towel log. Now for me, my towels aren't quite long enough to support my head, so that's why I have my pillows available, because we want the head supported and as best you can, getting the whole spine in alignment. So not the head tucked too much or falling back. So that might mean adjusting the pillows so that you feel your chin down but not crunched. So you want to feel the sensation of your spine lined up along the towels. And then take the weight of the blanket and place it on your belly so you feel that support from above. And then let's just begin with a little bit of arm movement. So lift your hands up in prayer above your chest, opening your heart. Lift your shoulders up over the towel and then slowly wing them out and down. Inhale up, lift, shoulders up and away, and then exhale, shoulders soften on either side of the towel log and open. Couple more times. Inhale up, lift, lower, and open. And lift, inhale, lower, let your shoulders relax down, and open. Nice. You can take your eye covering if you like. You can use a t-shirt or a scarf, or if you have an actual eye pillow that's a little bit weighted, that's a lovely choice for this particular application. It's a great way to create some darkness and warmth, and again, the support from above. Reassurance to your body that it is okay to relax. Now, as we settle into this posture, it's a great time to check in and see if the choices that you've made are in alignment with your intention. If not, have the courage to fidget, adjust, until you feel yourself as comfortable as you can be. Yeah. Noticing the sensation of your sacrum, the lowest part of your spine, connected to the support underneath it. Yeah, your spine lined up along the support, and then your side bodies gently draping over that support. Let your belly fill and empty here, just like lifting the blanket with your breath. Check out your arms and see what feels good. For me, arms out to the side feels really good, but it might work better for you to have your arms closer to your side or even resting on your body, your blanket, someplace like that. Let the muscles in your forehead dissolve with every breath. Let your shin bones, your lower legs feel weighted and heavy on the chair. Feet just relaxed in whatever position they want to flop into. Relaxing the spaces around your ears. Notice your collarbones here, your clavicle bones, letting them feel really long. You can imagine them like bird bones, hollow and light, floating on your breath. Sometimes when we make choices, it can be a vulnerable thing. And if it doesn't land exactly the way we intended, there can be this tendency to want to hold on, to double down on the choice that you made. But what Franchesca Ramsey is inviting, and what we're inviting with this practice, is instead to set a heartfelt intention. Do your best to choose actions that align and see how it impacts. If it doesn't impact the way you intended, make a different choice. Have the courage to choose again. Notice the muscles around your hip sockets, around the joints of your hips. Deep, big, strong joint. See if you can soften all of those connections. Let your thigh bones pour down into the joints of your hips. Noticing your fingers, allowing them to take any shape, curled or drawn out or in. Just allow your fingers to choose a shape and just notice what they choose. This is a pose that you can stay in for as long as you like. You're welcome to stay here longer. You can pause the recording or just let it play out and just stay exactly where you are. But whenever you're ready, if you've got a blanket on your belly, just setting it aside, 1 foot at a time, bending it into the edge of the chair or the couch, and then gently draw your knees into your chest and roll to one side that's comfortable. Pause here for a moment. Just let yourself feel your body on the side, and then push up into seated again. So again, taking your hips a little higher than your knees can feel good. Just noticing the sensation in your body, noticing any shifts since you started your practice. And remembering, as you take your tea or your water whenever you're ready, that intention plus action equals impact. And we need all three. We need to be paying attention to what our intention is, what our actions are, and whether they're in alignment with that intention, and what the impact is. And if the impact is not in alignment with the original intention, being brave enough, courageous enough to make a different choice. So taking a moment, smell. And hydrating your body, watering that practice. Thank you, friends, as always, for being with me, for practicing together, even while we're apart. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share videos, spread them liberally to anyone who you think could benefit. I offer them freely to anybody, no matter what their circumstances. You can also reach out to me, which I love. I love hearing from you. Comments on the videos. You can find me at my blog at focuspocusnow.com or at my website, susanmccully.com. Thank you again for being here. Take care of you. Mwah. Till next time.